Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am super excited to be back with my second plan with me. Last month I did a vintage strawberry theme, so please go check out April's plan with me if you haven't already, but first let's get started on May's bullet journal setup. I decided to make May's theme sakuras or cherry blossoms with a cute little snail. I know I'm a little late for a cherry blossom theme technically, but I recently went to a bunch of Japanese stationery stores and I was really inspired by everything I saw. One being cherry blossoms because it's the season for that right now, and because sakuras are an iconic symbol of Japan. I bought a lot of sakura stickers while I was there, and I really want those to be the star of this theme. Even though cherry blossom season comes to an end in May, I still want to do this theme because yes, I was very excited to use my stickers, but also because I thought this was a fun way to commemorate my interest in Japanese culture right now. I went with a more abstract look with the cherry blossoms, just making pink dots to represent the petals. I did this for simplicity reasons, but also because, like I just said, I want the stickers to be more of the star and make the actual sakura shape. So I think this style helps make it a bit more subtle and bring your attention to the stickers. I do end up making some changes, but for now I'm keeping it this way, and spoiler alert, there is a lot of that this month. I'm not sure why. There's a lot of going back and changing because I wasn't super satisfied with how it looked, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. I'm using 3 different shades of pink for the petals. It's basically just a light, medium, dark. So I'm going to start by laying down the light pink, then medium, then dark. And for now, I am focusing on putting the petals at the ends of the branches and where the branches meet. I personally didn't want it to be like a super pink overload, so I focused the full bloom just on those areas. Honestly, at the start, I think I was just really nervous that my illustration would stand out more than the stickers. I do fear this was just a case of sticker anxiety, honestly. I wanted like the perfect moment for these sakura stickers, and I was so excited to use them, so I wanted to make it really worth it when I stuck it down. So basically, I think I was just being overly paranoid because I wanted to make these stickers worth it, and it's just not that serious. These are the stickers in question. I picked them up at Daiso, and I think they're so cool because they have this metallic look, and they're kind of color shifting, so they have a different shade to them depending on the angle that you're looking at them. So I started adding the stickers to see how it would look with that mindset of wanting them to stand out. You'll see the real moments that come with journaling where I set down a sticker and then immediately regret it and have to restick it. The sticker anxiety, I swear, so real. I wrote the May title too, just in pretty basic cursive for that elegant sort of look, to really get the whole picture to see if it matches my vision, and this is when I realized that it wasn't really. I started spreading out the pink dots on the branches more because the trees were looking a little too dead for my liking, and I decided to add dots throughout the page to represent the petals falling, which is something that happens quickly with cherry blossoms, so I thought it was really fitting. It also helps make the trees not being in full bloom throughout make more sense. I have this kind of weird thing of not liking a lot of empty space throughout my journal pages, so I think I was low-key thinking of an excuse to put something there, but it does work. Comment down below if you're anything like me and you don't love leaving empty space on your journal pages. Obviously there are some places where it makes sense, but when it comes to like emptiness kind of throughout the page, I feel like I must put something. So let me know if you can relate to that. When I moved on to my quote page, this is when I started making even more changes. I thought the branches weren't coming through the pink super well, so I went over each branch a second time with the same brown marker, which I think did help. And I thought the branches honestly still looked too dead, so I decided to take pretty much just one of the pinks with a few other shades of pinks here and there throughout the entire branch. I wanted those original spots that I filled to be the main piece, but I think adding in these dots on the empty spaces of the branches helped make it look less like a dead tree. After finishing the branches, I decided to go with the quote, "The bloom is worth the wait." Sakuras are so beautiful and are only in full bloom for a brief amount of time that it's something a lot of us, especially people people in Japan really cherish and look forward to seeing, as it's so quick to leave us. And even though their time is short after waiting a full year to see them, the beauty clearly never ceases to amaze us. Ironically, I feel like I was needing that quote in this moment in a sense, because I wasn't feeling super great about this theme, but was just trying to wait it out and trust the process. I added on my stickers and falling petal dots before moving on to my habit tracker spread. I'm making 9 mini calendars for the 9 habits I'm tracking this month. And when I complete a habit, I'm going to put a pink circle dot for the day, which I thought was cute because I'm using that to represent the petals already. By the way, using this style made everything a lot easier and faster for me. I don't really love the way that I did it, but you can see in these examples from Pinterest how beautifully it's done and how possible it is if you're short on time or not super confident in your drawing skills. Also, sorry that I'm kind of like beating myself up in this video and being a bit of a downer. This is my first theme in a while that I haven't really loved, but I also think it's so important for me to still share this because this is a very realistic thing that can happen with creative journaling. You may not be super proud of every single spread you make, and that is so okay. I like to try and remind myself, which I clearly need to do a slightly better job, that this journal is just for me and is something that I want to just have fun looking back on. It is highly unlikely I'm going to look back on this in a few years and be like, ew, this is hideous. I don't even want to look at this. I mean, I can tell you that I have spreads that I've made from when I first started that are very different than what I'm doing now, and I poke fun at them, but I absolutely love them. Maybe not artistically, but I love the memories that come with them. I remember where I was when I made them, and I have memories written in them that make me happy to look at. It's also okay to laugh at yourself a bit and be like, oh girl, that was not your best, while keeping the thought of, this isn't what it's all about though, at the front of your mind. There's a trend going around right now of my fellow journalers captioning their journal spreads with, don't let social media be your only archive, and I think for me at least, that's what it's all about. It's also a creative outlet, but it's of course a creative outlet whether the finished product is something I'm super proud of or not. Let me come back to this topic and first talk about my mood tracker, which I'm making right now. I spread numbers throughout the page, and I'm going to put a larger circle petal and match the shade of pink to my mood. Again, I thought it was fitting for the petals to be falling since I've been doing it throughout the page and because they fall off the branches really quickly in real life. And I do feel like I need to say this because I went on my tangent about not liking empty space on my journal, and it's very clear to me that the top half of the habit tracker page does not have the little falling petals. So after recording, I did go back and put that in. So I'm a girly to my word. This is where I make the final change that you'll see in this video, which is where I outline the branches with a 01 Pigma Micron pen. I still felt like the branches didn't stick out enough, so I went back and made those changes on the spreads that I already made. I will say I do kind of regret that decision now, but I've committed, so I guess it's what we're doing. A change I made off camera was how I drew the petals. I'll insert some pictures of my first weekly spread where I changed up the style while still making them abstract petals, and I think I like this way a lot better. I basically was just much more intentional of where I was putting my circles, making them more in a cherry blossom shape as opposed to scattered randomly throughout the branches. I almost don't even want to say this out loud because I don't want to put it in your guys' heads as well, but these branches were kind of giving coral reef to me, and I had to fix that. So I was very happy with the decision I made to make them more in a flower shape. That obviously makes more sense. So if you'd still like to take inspiration from the spread, this is another way that you can make the petals, and is probably the way I'm going to make them for the rest of May. Now let's move on to my gratitude page. A lot of times I've been doing something illustrative on the right-hand side of my gratitude page, and I still did by putting on some stickers, which you'll see in a minute, but this time I did my drawing under the gratitude title to slightly change it up. I obviously did this long cherry blossom branch with my cute little snail. While I'm finishing this up, I'm gonna backtrack a little and talk a little more about artistic insecurity. I know that I could have scrapped this at this point where I'm questioning how it's all looking, but I've said from the beginning that I have a weird rule of refusing to do that. I have never once torn out a page and started over for a couple of reasons. One being what I said earlier, that its purpose is to get me in a creative headspace, which it does no matter what, hold memories, and organize my life. The other reason being that it's part of my journey, and I want to remember that. My journal is not here to be an aesthetically pleasing, Instagram-worthy piece, and living in the social media world can make it really easy to fall into that. Additionally, for me in particular, when sharing this online, I like being a creator for you to find who doesn't consider herself an artist and often takes shortcuts when it comes to art, but can still make a beautiful spread while also not being perfect and not being super proud of the spreads sometimes. Art should never be the reason someone doesn't bullet journal, and I want to be a voice for that by not giving up on doing something that I simply love doing and being vocal about how good bullet journaling has been for me mentally. Still, all that being said, your art, lettering, and creativity does get better the more that you practice it. Take it from someone who has bullet journaled for 3 years now. Make it about what you get out of the process of it. I think it's perfectly healthy to challenge yourself a little bit, but this should never be a stressful hobby. So don't challenge yourself to the point where you're just stressed out. Practice, learn, observe, and just have fun. Anyway, I hope some of you can relate to that. I just felt like that was important to share, but I'm done now. Let's go to the last page. I wanted to make a more educational spread, and obviously to match the theme and the inspiration behind the theme, I want to write a little history lesson on sakura blossoms. As I said earlier, I've been fascinated by Japanese culture, and cherry blossoms are a significant symbol in Japan. People from around the world visit Japan for sakura season just to witness the beauty of its roughly 1 week of being in full bloom. I think my favorite fact I learned was what the Hanami event was. Hanami translates to flower viewing, and this is a Japanese custom where people gather in parks and gardens to enjoy the beauty of the natural cycle, as well as using this peaceful time to meditate and be with loved ones. I just thought that was so sweet and something that I would love to witness one day in my dreams. I also love sakura's representations of new beginnings and the beauty in that, as I think all of us have had periods of life where we wanted a fresh start. It's just kind of crazy to me that nature can represent that, and in Japan the season comes at a perfect time as the school year and fiscal year starts in April, which I feel like these beginnings in our lives are when a lot of us get motivated or rebrand ourselves or do a lot of reflecting. So yeah, I love the symbolism behind it, and I wanted to write it down because that's honestly going to help me remember it, and I want to be able to look back and see the inspiration behind this theme. Here is the final flip through for May's Sakura theme. I kind of went on a lot of tangents here, but I think this idea of artistic perfectionism needs to be talked about, and I hope it resonated with you in some way. Please give this video some love and subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!